Hello there my friends, it's Ebird Online, and yes, I'm going to talk again about Yvette and Mohamed. Well, I guess somebody has to, and today that somebody's me. That's right, it's 90 Day Fiance Season 9, Episodes 7 to 9. So this relationship is fast turning into an unmitigated shambles, and judging by the look on Eve's face, it's tipping her over the edge. And I don't mind admitting that Mohamed this week has given me cause to revise my earlier assertion that Jibri was the most annoying person on this season's 90 Day Fiance. Mohamed's made a virtually watertight case for it being him. This relationship's turned from a nothing burger to a shit sandwich. And I don't mean to be horrible about somebody else's relationship, but, well, somebody's got to do it. If not who, me. And if not now, when? And whilst I've never been particularly excited about the existence of Mohamed on planet Earth, it would seem that Eve is slowly but surely drawing the same conclusion. There's a very clear culture clash between this couple, and that's what I'm going to analyse today. And Eve tells production, Mohamed's new to America, so I want to cut him some slack. Eve, you could have shortened that sentence somewhat. Mohamed's new to America, so I want to cut him. And in turn, Mohamed tells production, she's now with a Muslim man, and I made it very clear to her that she was going to have to change. In fact, she promised. So guys, I'm going to look at the main bones of contention in this great culture clash and try and ascertain who's at fault. But right before I do that, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel thus far, and also to everyone that's written comments. I do actually crack up when I'm reading them. But if you've yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Just press the big red button marked subscribe and make Ebird a very happy Ebird. And also don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoy the video. And so without further ado, I give you Eve and Mohamed. And so one of the very first bones of contention that Eve and Mohamed had was at the restaurant when Mohamed first met Eve's friends. And so this couple are both dressed and ready to go to the restaurant. And Eve's got on a very, very bright, very, very tight, shocking pink dress. And Eve treats each and every one of us to the sight of her two bum cheeks eating through a black G-string. And of course Mohamed's none too pleased about this, and he asks that she change. And she said, well, I can put on a longer jacket if you wish. Eve, he certainly does wish. But I have to say, whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or anyone at all, the unrequested flash of a G-string is never really the one. Eve, I've got to say I'm with Mohamed on this one, it's not a good look. And so Eve put on a longer jacket and they go off to the restaurant. When they arrive, Mohamed's introduced to 3 of her friends. And 2 of the 3 have their bazookas proudly on display. And Mohamed and Eve sat down, and you could see at first Mohamed didn't know where to look, but he quickly regained his composure and decided to look directly at their breasts. And when speaking to producers, Mohamed declared that Eve's friends were weirdos. Well, Mohamed, it takes one to know one. And he continued, they're exposing their flesh, and they're trying to see how I'll react because I'm a Muslim. And I've got to say, it is quite the display they're putting on. And I've got a feeling they did try and go a little bit over the top just to see what Mohamed would say. And one of her friends did look like she'd been eliminated in the second round of RuPaul's Drag Race. She was all done up like a dog's dinner. And the waiter came over to take wine orders. And Eve said, I don't think I'll have any this evening. Eve? Oh my God, Eve, what are you doing? What are you thinking? The only possible chance that you'll make your way through this evening is to be completely pissed. These ladies are baying for Egyptian blood. I've got every reason to believe that Mohamed might be, well, at least palatable if you were completely pissed. And although Eve declined a drink, you could pretty much see the ladies were, well, at least 2 or 3 bottles in by the questions they decide to ask Mohamed. And so the very first question was, have you previously had any serious relationships? And he said yes, he was engaged, but she broke up with him because he was too poor. Oh, what a surprise. And also, more than likely, because he was a dominating gaslighter. But I digress. The ladies next ask about the age difference. And they asked Mohamed, does it bother you that Eve is so much older? And he said no, because she's still very pretty. And he's right, she is. But guys, the next questions became more and more invasive, and I honestly could not get my breath. They asked if he'd ever had sex before he slept with Eve. And when he said no, they asked the most ridiculous question I think I've ever heard. They said, well then, how did you know what to do? Oh, good Lord. And then they further asked, did you find out what to do by watching porn? Who asks these questions? This is unbelievable. Just because he was a virgin, they imagined that he wouldn't have known what to do. So how did you know what to do when you first had sex? How did your husband know what to do when he first had sex? Guys, my cat has sex. My cat, well, as far as I know, doesn't watch porn. My cat knows how to have sex. We're all animals. It comes naturally. And I've got to say, these questions are now verging on the invasive and ridiculous. And they giggle idiotically as Mohamed squirms. And Mohamed tells producers, in Egypt, no one asks these questions. Oh, Mohamed, nor do they in America, or in the UK, or in polite society anywhere. They're beyond rude. And then finally we get on to Bikini Gate. And they ask Mohamed, why is it you don't like Eve wearing a bikini? And he said, because she's going to be my wife. And they said, but when you first saw her on Instagram, she was on a boat in a bikini and you liked the picture and you started a relationship with her. So why are you now telling her she's not allowed to wear a bikini? And he explains once more that in his culture it's inappropriate. And her friends say, well, in America that comes across as being really controlling. And he says, well, I'm not going to change my mind. And so in the car on the way home, they argue at length about the bikini again. And Mohamed's extremely upset that Eve has discussed this argument they had about the bikini with her friends. And Mohamed said, you said that you want to change. And Eve said, that's BS, I never said that. And he said, no, you told me you would never wear a bikini again, and then you did it. And Eve said, oh, well, who cares? Mohamed does. And then Mohamed said, I'm not marrying any woman who's wearing a bikini. I think you'll find on her wedding day, she'll probably wear a wedding dress and not a bikini, so you needn't worry, Mohamed. And guys, I don't know why they keep arguing about this bikini. They're not at the beach or they're not at a swimming pool. So why is this the biggest bone of contention in all the myriad of problems that they have within their relationship? But I have to say, just from this section of the conversation, it appears to me that Eve did agree not to wear a bikini anymore. Because when Mohamed said, you said you wouldn't wear a bikini and then you did it, Eve just said, oh, who cares? Something sketchy about that. But Eve's now talking to production and she said, I don't know what he's talking about actually. I said to him that I was no longer going to eat pork. And I also told him that I wasn't going to drink only on special occasions. And I said that I would throw out some of my old clothes and dress a bit more conservatively. But I never ever said that I wouldn't wear a bikini. She said, I'm not going to live my life being controlled. Well, then I put it to you, Eve, that you're not going to live your life with Mohamed. But he's the biggest controller you'll meet. And the truth be told, it's all he's really good at. And so the very next culture clash was the Eve and Mohamed trip to the mosque. So as the couple were eating breakfast, Mohamed reminded Eve that she had to cover her hair before she went to the mosque. She said, really? I've got to cover my hair? I didn't know that. Really, Eve? Oh, good Lord. What else are you going to be surprised by? That they don't serve up bacon sandwiches on the way in? That they don't have pina coladas in the range of drinks? Oh, good Lord. Wait until Eve finds out she's not allowed to wear hot pants. She really is ridiculous sometimes. And so the couple arrived at the mosque, and as soon as they got in, they were split up because, of course, men and women pray separately, and yet again, Eve was surprised by it. And Mohamed said for the first time he feels at home. And at the end of the service, the couple speak to the Imam, and Mohamed says that he wants Eve to convert, so that she can learn and understand the rules of Islam. Oh, Mohamed, she understands them all right, she just doesn't like them, and doesn't want to partake in them. Eve said to production that she was really worried in case Mohamed expected her to convert. And as they walk through the car park towards the car, Mohamed asks Eve to convert. Eve, of course, politely declined. If you can call politely declining saying, no way. Not bloody likely. But Mohamed's very upset about this, and he tells production, I don't want to marry a woman who doesn't prioritise my needs. Maybe she needs to be a Muslim, so she understands my culture and my needs more. Maybe you can wave a magic wand and turn Eve into your mum, Mohamed, because that, I think, is the only way you're going to get what you want. And so the next issue in this clash of cultures was Eve going out with her friend to the bar. Yes, you heard that right. Eve's going out with her friend Tatiana for a drink. Toot toot, all aboard the Guilt Trip Express. It's a little bit like the Orient Express, complete with the murder. And just as she was about to leave, she went in to say bye to Mohamed. He said, Eve, I can't believe you're going out. Mohamed believed it because she is. And then he said, will you be drinking alcohol? And she said, I may do, I don't know. And then he tried to give his best faux shocked look. And he said, it's such a shame. We could have stayed in and had a nice dinner together and watched a movie. Which movie, Mohamed? Sleeping with the Enemy. And so Eve goes nevertheless. And when she arrives at the bar, she has a chat with Tatiana. And Tatiana asks her, are you overwhelmed with all the changes since Mohamed's come? And Eve said, yes, I am. And Tatiana asked if she'd convert to Islam. And Eve looked as if she was about to burst into tears. Her eyes welled up. And she said, oh my God, there are so many rules and regulations. And I really don't think that I can cope. Mohamed wants me to do everything his way. And he's not at all flexible. And she said, I've made some changes, but I never knew he was going to be like this when he came. And then Tatiana talks to production. And guys, this woman's virtually a prophet. And she said, when you have a relationship that works out not so well, this is how it starts. Oh, Tatiana, the Ebird can go one further. When you have a relationship in which one partner ends up supporting the patio, this is how it starts. And so the next time we see this couple, they're back at home and it's the morning after the night before. And the couple are sitting outside in the yard and Mohamed's absolutely incandescent with rage. And he asked her, why did you get home so late? Oh dear Eve, you don't make things easy for yourself, do you? What time did you get home? 10:30. 10:30? Oh Eve, you dirty stop out. Mohamed, Lord knows what she got up to. And guys, I was genuinely waiting for him to say something like 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. 10:30. What's the big deal? And Eve explained to him, I needed some time to myself. Translation, I needed to get the F away from you, even just for a few hours. But it's not really the fact that she went out, it's the fact that she went out with her friends, and Mohamed knows that her friends don't really care for him. In fact, don't really care for him's the least of it. They hate his goddamn guts. And once more he tells production, I'm really worried about what these women are saying to Eve. They're manipulating her against me. And he said in Egypt, we have a saying, don't spill the poison in the honey. And I think letting Eve go out with these girls, that's what it's doing. It's poisoning her mind. And then Eve said, I'm super stressed out at the moment. There's all these rules and regulations. Mohamed, I'm not going to convert to be a Muslim. I know who I am and I don't want to lose myself. But then Mohamed said to her, when you say that your friends are scared, that means that they're judging me. You've known who I am for 2 years. You must respect my culture because you decided to be with me. I was very clear with you about everything. And Eve said, I want you to accept that I'm an American woman and I want to live my life as I want to live it, not by Muslim rules. And Mohamed said, you're being told by your friends what to think. And she said, how rude. And then they both talked to producers together. And guys, this is very interesting because I think it's the first time we've seen both of them speaking together. And they both have very different recollections of what was said in the intervening 2 years whilst they were dating before Mohamed moved over to America. And so Mohamed started out by saying, she came to Egypt and she saw how I lived. So she knew everything, she knew what I wanted before I came here. And Eve said, but that was a holiday. You didn't give me any real specifics. And Mohamed said, I didn't think I needed to. Well, Mohamed, yes, you did need to. If you want someone to change, you have to say how they change. And then Mohamed on his own to production said, who's Eve going to listen to? Me or her friends? Mohamed, let's have a wild thought here. Maybe she's going to listen to herself, to her own inner monologue. I think right now it's saying, this guy's a controlling, gaslighting narcissist. Lord, please deliver me from him. And so she said, well, I'm not going to convert to be a Muslim. And he finished up with, well, if you're not going to change and you're not going to do what you said you'd do, you're wasting my time right now. And that's where we end things for this week. So normally I'd say, what does the Ebird make to all of this? Well, you have Republicans and Democrats, Christians and Muslims, East Coast and West Coast, Ariela and the rest of the world. And most importantly, Ebird and Mr. Ebird. Because guys, right now, the Ebird home is not a happy home. We've had a, how can I say, slight falling out on the issue of Eve and Mohamed. So Mr. Ebird very rarely gets involved in what I'm doing. But when he heard what I was saying about this couple, he felt he had to weigh in. And what I want from you today is to say which side you fall on. So we're not actually disagreeing over who's right or who's wrong, but whose responsibility it was for finding out what the differences were between, for one, finding out what the differences were between the two cultures, but two, also working out, could we actually live together? Are these insurmountable differences or... So first we'll put forth Mr. Ebird's case. So he believes that Eve is completely at fault for the following reasons. Firstly, he thinks she should have taken her cues about Mohamed from when she was with him in Egypt. It's his contention that the teachings of Islam are so widely known that whilst she was in Egypt she should have been asking questions and really just looking round and taking cues from everything she saw around her. So he obviously made it clear that he didn't like the idea of her eating pork, and she agreed not to eat pork anymore. And she also agreed to dress more conservatively and to only drink alcohol on special occasions. So from this it should have been obvious that he was expecting some sort of change in her behaviour when he arrived in America. Mr. Ebird also thinks that she should have ascertained and what his thoughts were on her lifestyle and what the differences would be between the two lifestyles. Obviously only she knew what her Western life was like at that point. So he thinks that she's better positioned to notice, analyse and ask questions about the differences between the two. He also thinks she should have checked into what he expected from a wife in terms of behaviour, but also mainly the dynamic in the marriage. Were they both going to have an equal say in the marriage, or was he going to be head of household, end of story? And then finally he believes that because in the West we have lots of information on Islam and Christianity and different religions, that she should have fully researched what it means to be a Muslim because she had all of the information at her fingertips. Interesting. The Ebird disagrees in the strongest terms. And so my first point is that Mr. Ebird should keep his nose out of grown people's business. How many times do I have to tell him? But secondly, I really believe that if Mohamed wanted Eve to behave differently from the way that she normally behaves, he should have laid it down and said in no uncertain terms what his expectations were. And at one point when they were talking to producers this week, she said, well, you didn't say that you wanted this from me. And he said, I didn't think I had to say. I honestly believe, never mind what you thought you had to say anyway, just so that you can clarify on what you think should happen in this relationship. And also one of the main points that I have to make is that he should have made it clear that he wanted her to change and that he wanted her to maintain the teachings of Islam. So she's not asking him to change. She's saying, you stay how you are, continue being Mohamed, continue being you. I want to continue being Eve. So I think the onus was on him for this conversation because it's he that wanted her to change and not the other way round. And I also believe that Mohamed should have known if he was moving to America where the culture is different, he should realise that Eve is in her natural habitat, so the chances of her wanting to change are going to be less than if she was moving, say, to Egypt. I think it's a kind of very loose when in Rome. I'm not suggesting everything should be very westernised and that he should lose his culture or his religion, but I think it's completely ridiculous and asinine for him to say, I didn't think I needed to tell you how to change, and to imagine that she should have just somehow known what these changes were going to be. So guys, who do you think's correct? A lot of people on social media are saying she's older so she should have known better. And I do realise that neither one of these two people did their due diligence before actually making this move to be together in America. And I think to some extent Eve knew there were going to be problems, and that's why she didn't want her friends' views to be known. I think she knew in the back of her mind that the questions her friends would have posed would have created a problem before he moved over. But I think one of the main issues that is an overall sticking point is intrinsically he thinks that a man is a man and that they know more than a woman and that they have the final say. And this difference between the way that Western couples look at a relationship is always going to form a problem because it's not an equal partnership, it's a partnership in which one person has the final say. And the truth of the dynamic is that neither one of these two people in the couple is prepared to look at the actual truth, that they're from completely different cultures, that it's going to take a massive change and neither party is prepared to be very malleable. And my final point is that even though Eve went to Egypt many times, 4 times I think, before they got married, Egypt is very much a land of two cultures, and I've known this from going to Egypt a lot of times myself. There's the tourist side of it, and then there's real Egypt. And so if they were staying on tourist resorts, there's literally no way that Eve could have been expected to understand Egyptian culture from the 3rd floor of the Cairo Hilton. So guys, what I want to know from you is whose side are you on? So guys, let me know in comments down below what you think. And before you go, please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.